member of the Everly Pregnant Brothers, Tiny Barber Surf Club, and all-round good guy. Are you ready for this? One person, yeah? We'll start clapping for you guys, so you start the clapping and we'll just do it like some kind of mad mixing way. Ready? Start clapping and cheering. There, all around. There we go, nearly there. Give it up for Big Shaun!
Hello, can you all hear me all right? Good. I don't have an indoor voice. I think two of the first words I ever heard were "shut up." So tonight I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about music and I'm going to talk about mental health, because both have been massive in my life, and I'm going to give you a chance to ask questions. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to do a talk and then do a question and answer at end. If you want to ask out, stick your hand up. Right? Just bang your hand in air and I'll come to you and I'll say, what's your question? Is that all right? Fabulous. Now, apparently I've got here for an hour. And when they said, can you come and speak for half an hour? I was like, what, on a mic in front of people? I said, try stopping me. So, music. Let's start with music. One of my earliest memories is my little brother dancing around wearing his nappy and a t-shirt to Tony Christie, "Is This the Way to Amarillo?" last week. No, it was way back I'm going back, 50 years. 50 years. And that's one of my earliest memories. And that's what started me off loving music. Because watching him living his best life, with a shitty nappy on, in his t-shirt, dancing around again and again to Tony Christie, and the little joyous face that he had made me realise that there was something special about what were coming from that record player. And from that moment on, I needed more of that in my life. So I listened to every single record I could get my hands on. So I listened to everything from Frank Sinatra, ABBA, the Beatles, Johnny Cash, the Platters. So my musical tastes right from the very beginning were eclectic, to in the extreme. As I got older, as every teenage lad does, I started to want to be in a band. Because everybody saw, for me it were Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark on Top of the Pops, doing Enola Gay, Andy McCluskey with his bass and his gimpy dancing. And I thought, that's what I want to do. But I didn't want to be a singer. I wanted to be a bass player. But I've got sausage fingers and strangler's hands. These are not meant for dexterity. They're meant for pain, essentially. Just inflicting deep, deep pain. So I realised I was never going to be a bass player. And then I decided, I don't really sing, but I used to enthusiastically sing along to records. I'll never forget, we lived at 144 Rosemary Road at Bayton, down at Bottom Hill, Round Square. And I'll never forget, I was listening to Big Country's first album, The Crossing, and enthusiastically singing along. And all of a sudden, bringing me from my reverie was the noise of my father, whose voice now is mine, which is scary. The first time I heard these words come out of my mouth, I was like, oh shit, I've turned into my dad. And the words were, "Are you out your bleeding mind? Shut the fuck up!" So, there you go. But I started writing songs with a friend of mine. And the songs were, for a 15-year-old, the songs were about trains, football, girls, trains and girls, football and girls, football and trains, and trains. So that was pretty much all I could, because they said write about what you know. Well, all I knew at that point was I liked trains, I liked football, I liked girls. Football didn't like me because I've always been a bit of a big unit, and athletically, no. Academically, top at class, but athletically, always left back in changing rooms. And we wrote these songs, and we used to record them on a little tape player in my bedroom. And we had between us a guitar, 2 Casio keyboards, and a drum that we made out of an old biscuit tin that we stretched gaffer tape across top. And we recorded about 5 songs. And we used to record them in bedroom and take them downstairs and play them to whoever were in the kitchen. Because round our house, every night, there'd be all sorts of folk in the kitchen. Old neighbours used to come round, old mates used to come round. And we'd play them these songs. And I'll be honest with you, they were brutally honest in their critique of our 15-year-old songwriting abilities. I remember walking down for the first time, and our neighbour Sandra just went, "Shaun, that's shit." And I said, "Do you know what? That's what we're going to call the band." So we called ourselves The Shit, which we then changed to Princess Charles. Don't ask me why. There were a lot of weird imagery going on in that little corner of Bayton at the time. And again, I got older, and eventually, my voice, once it had broke, actually started sounding tuneful. So I went to university, and I'd sing. Just if anybody were at a party and had got a guitar, if they sang a song, if they were playing a song I knew, I'd sing. And then it got to the point where we had a band on for the summer ball, and somebody said, "Shaun, get up and sing, get up and sing." So I got up and sang for the first time ever live in front of 750 people, and I sang Yesterday by the Beatles, and the whole place went absolutely mental. And from then on, that were it. I've been a performer. So we're going back to 1988. So it's what, 34 years now that I've been doing that, and I've had some great times doing it. Started off doing original songs, and we're in a band called 2 Till 10. We played at Leadmill a couple of times. We played at all sorts. We played at Allamshire. You remember Allamshire on West Street? We played there once 38 times in a year. Yeah, we were on every week for about 6 months, and it was like our home. That band kicked me out. I started the fucking band, and they kicked me out. They said, "We don't think your heart's in it, and you've not lost enough weight. You don't look cool enough." I'm like, "Right, okay." And then I went in another band a few years later, and I've just done it constantly on and off. Some people might remember I used to be in a band called the Sharp Cuts. They were used to busking all in road, but not when I were in them. They were much more blues and soul when I sang with them. And then I packed it in. At the age of 38, I packed it all in, stopped completely. And then an old mate phoned me up. "Do you want to be in a band?" "No, I've given up. I don't do it no more." "Oh, come on, let's just have a band." So started doing a little band, just me and him. Recorded a couple of albums, and I got the bug for it again. And I really got back into writing. And at the time, my first marriage were basically breaking up, going down the toilet, and getting out of the house each day to be able to go and record these songs and get stuff off my chest was therapy. It kept me alive. For 3 years, it actually kept me from going over edge, because this is where the depression side comes in. This is where the mental health side comes in. I had my first brush with mental illness when I was 5. When I was a toddler, we were at my nan's house, and there was a thunderstorm. And I don't remember, obviously, I was only 18 months old, but the house got struck by lightning. There was a big blue flash, all the lights went out, and I screamed the place down. Now, 3 or 4 years on from that, every time the sky went dark, every time it looked like rain, I would have an anxiety attack. to the point where I literally was throwing myself on the floor, couldn't breathe. They took me to doctors and they gave me some pink medicine that tastes like bananas, and I settled down. And eventually I got over that fear of thunder. And then I didn't think about mental health because I didn't really know what it was until I was in my 20s. And when I was in my 20s and I just got kicked out at band, I had a really low moment and married the wrong woman. So I was in a really dark place. She came along at the wrong time and we got married ill-advisedly. I don't regret it because we've got a daughter together. She's 27 and she's brilliant and she's an emo goth and she lives in Bolton, and I bought her a bonsai tree for her birthday this year, and she keeps sending me pictures on Facebook of its progress. So I've said, that's my little bonsai granddaughter. So that's my little grandchild there, because I don't think she's ever going to produce children. I just don't think our Lauren's got that in her. She's not maternal at all. But after that, again, while we and her mother were together, I had some really dark times and went for counselling, did the whole tablets thing, thought I'd got better. And it just kept coming back. Round about every 5 to 10 years, it would keep coming back. I'd keep hitting a wall. And it was usually coincide with a big change in my life. It would either precede a big change and kind of fuel it, or it would come at the end of a big change. So like losing a job, changing jobs, getting divorced, all of that kind of thing. And for a long time I just went right on a downward spiral. And I'm not going to say I'm cured, because I don't think there is a cure. But then I don't want to be cured, because that part of me, that mental health issue, is part of my DNA, is part of who I am. And if I didn't have that in my life, if I'd never experienced that, I wouldn't appreciate everything that's good in my life. So I'm married for the second time to an amazing woman who, from the minute we met, has just been a rock, an absolute rock and anchor for me. I'm in a great band. I'm in two great bands. I'm in a band called the Everly Pregnant Brothers. Some of you might know who they are. I'm not singing, and I ain't got a ukulele because I don't play one, because sausage hands, strangled hands, you see. But that, when we first started that band, and we're going back 13 years this September, and again I was in a really dark place. Loving the band, loving being in the band, but really on my own, lonely, living at my mum's in a really downward spiral. And then Toby Foster said to me, "Hey, it's Comedy Festival coming up. Adam Hills is playing. Come and see his show. Come and see his show. Go. And now, I'll tell you, on the comedy circuit, there's a competition amongst all the comics to see who can do the best Toby Foster impression. Yeah, fuck 'em. I do the best Toby Foster impression. So, anyway, he said, come along, come and see Adam Hills' show. And Adam Hills did a show called Inflatable. And it was about how people come into your life. And you've either got deflators, who suck all the energy out of you and leave you feeling miserable, or you've got inflators. And those are the people who, no matter how long you spend with them, they always leave you feeling pumped up, buzzing, happy and full of joy. And we need people like that. We need inflators in our lives. And if we can't have them in our lives, then we should be inflators and do it for other people. And that's, for me, what being a musician, being in Everly Pregnant Brothers, you know, being in Tiny Barbara's Surf Club, doing radio show, DJing, all of that is because I want to pump people up. I want to inflate people. The thing about that show was, he talked about one of his best friends who died, and she was an inflator. And after she died, all the people, all their social circle went out for a night out. And because she always used to wear bunny ears at every party, they all went out wearing bunny ears. And he said they had a fantastic night, wonderful night out, loads of memories, loads of tears, loads of laughter, loads of hugs. And then by the end of the night, he was walking back to his hotel, and he was absolutely bereft because he was so heartbroken that he'd lost this amazing person from his life. But he says, as I was walking home to my hotel, everyone I walked towards was smiling. Everyone smiled at me. Literally. And he said, by the time I got to the hotel, I was pumped. I was ready for anything. Life felt good again. And he said, and then I walked into the hotel door and looked at my reflection. I was still wearing the fucking bunny ears. So that's another thing. Wear the bunny ears. You know, don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to talk, because it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. I've just done a video for Lens Go media company about a poem. I read a poem that's written by a woman called Tracy Ford. Look her up. She's got an amazing blog. I think it's called Have a Word Missing. And to be involved in that project meant so much. To be a part of that and to have the honour of being able to read her words, which are amazing, and for people to share that, it really makes me feel good. And I've got to tell you, I am at the moment the happiest I've been in years, and a lot of that, it comes from the love and support and friendship that I get from family, friends, colleagues, bandmates, and you people, folks that come and see us and listen to our bullshit. Because, believe me, I didn't write anything tonight. I never write anything in advance. Everything I do comes off the top of my head, because it's the only way I can be. I've got to be spontaneous, and I say what I'm thinking at that time. So, that's pretty much it in terms of what I've got to tell you. So, well, bugger it. Has anyone got a question? You, sir. Yeah, absolutely. I think, for me, the more I can get the message out that I'm not ashamed of having suffered. I'm not afraid to say I've suffered. And to be able to share that with other people, not only is it therapy for me, but the number of times that people come up to me after gigs or after events like this and say, actually, Shaun, I've been watching you for years on Facebook and Twitter and seeing your gigs and stuff. And you speaking out about mental illness actually saved me. It made me go and talk to someone. It made me dad go and talk to someone. It made me mum go and talk to someone. And there's no better feeling than that, than knowing that you've, even in a tiny little way, been able to help somebody else. And whatever media you do it, whether it's art or film or music or poetry or just being a gobshite, which is essentially what I am. It's just do it. Talk to people. Open up, because you'd be amazed how many people want to listen. And that's the thing. When you get into that dark place, you don't think anyone wants to hear it. You think you're just going to be a burden, and you're not. Yes, yeah. I am. So the other band is a band called Tiny Barbara's Surf Club, and that is me, Toby, a guy called Tim McNeil from Fear Lies, a guy called Andy Peacock, who used to be in a band called, I think it was Bendy Monsters, and then two lads that used to be in a club band with Toby when they were like 18. We got together about 5 years ago to do the first Wentworth Festival, and we just did covers. And again, this is where it ties in again, because our keyboard player, and I don't know if anybody knew him, but lots of people around Sheffield did, a guy called Paul Jones, did the first festival with us, and everybody knew him. All musos knew him and loved him. And he took his life after the Christmas. And that just knocked me for six. I was already off work with depression from being a funeral director at that time. So him leaving us was just devastating. But at the same time, it kind of pulled us together because we all rallied round each other. We all made sure we were all right. We all checked on each other. And then eventually we did another 2 years of covers, and we got a bit fed up of doing covers. So we started writing our own stuff, and we've been doing that for about 2 years now. We've had one gig so far at the Cutlers in Rotherham, but we are playing at the Greystones on the 15th of June, and at the Dorothy Packs on the 18th of June. So if you get a chance, come and see us. I'll plug this one. Greystones. It's a pay as you feel. So you have to book a ticket. Your ticket don't cost now, and then you've got to pay to get out. Because me and Toby will be standing on the doorway, 2 buckets going, get some fucking money in there. But it should be a great laugh. We've got Sarah Mack supporting, who's amazing. But yeah, so music and depression for me have been close bedfellows, and yet at the same time, I won't be without either. Yeah. We have. We always swore we'd never play in Leeds. In fact, we once did get booked to play a gig for the Northern Ballet Company at the Royal Armouries, and it sold 3 tickets. So we said, we're not doing the gig, and they said, you'll never work in Leeds again. Only, fuck them, because we did. We played at Broodnell Social Club recently, and we were a bit, there was a bit of trepidation. Are we going to get away with this? Are we going to have to leave van running outside? We got there, 30% of crowd were from Sheffield, 45% of crowd were from round Leeds, like Wakefield, Dewsbury, and then the rest were from Leeds, and they loved it. They got on board with it. I think they realised that although we did do Rotherham, by the way, so we did 5 times on a stage in Leeds, shout, they tried to make me go to Leeds, and I said, fuck off. In Leeds. We got away with it, but it was a cracking gig. So yeah, I mean, we'll probably do it again. We'll probably play Leeds again. See how we go down next time. Anyone else want to ask anything? Oh, that is a good question. Favourite song to perform? So, with Everly Pregnant Brothers, it's always been No Oven, No Pie, because it's not a true story, but it's based on reality. It's based on going and eating my tea at my nan's, or having an old gas oven with pilot light, and so it's pure nostalgia, but also it's a song that people just, I mean, these days, as soon as they start playing it, I can just shut up, because the crowd just sing it for me. It's like being in U2. It's very good. With Tiny Barbara's Surf Club, we've got a song that we've recently written, and I wrote it after my mum died, which was during just before we went into lockdown, and it's just called Me Mam. And so the chorus goes, because she always used to sing, my mum, at Roundhouse. She'd always sing. She didn't always know all words, but she would always sing. So the chorus goes, sometimes you sing the Carpenters, and other times Dancing Queen. And I wonder where this voice of mine comes from, and I know I get it from my mum. And we had a memorial service for her back in October, and I read it out. I read the words out as a poem, and everyone were in floods of tears. And I thought, great, I can make them roar. So when they finally get a song recorded, I think it'll go down really well. But that's my favourite one to sing with Tiny Barbara's Surf Club. Although there's loads. I mean, I still love singing covers. I still love doing other people's songs. I love singing She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult. It's one of my all-time favourite songs. And I'll tell you, my all-time favourite song of all time, the one song that I will always go back to, is Camouflage by Stan Ridgway. And I got into that song when I worked as a cleaner at Crosby Kitchens with my mum, and after school, and Radio Hallam played it every night for about 2 months. And so I'd be there sweeping away with my big brush, pissing about because I was 17. I didn't want to be sleep sweeping, so I just used to make games up. I used to make a football out of a load of rolled up masking tape, and boot that about, and you then get told off. But that song were on all the time, and I just loved it, and I got so into it. And then I went to uni, and in my second year, I was an inordinately late bloomer, if you know what I mean. So, without being too indelicate, the night that I moved forward in life, shall we say, and backward and forward and backward and forward and backward and forward. So that night, it was with a girl who was on an exchange year from America. And while we were in her room sort of just, making out, as they say, she got that album on. She got the Stan Ridgway album on. So it's just perfect soundtrack. And no, we didn't do it to the actual song. That was afterwards. But so I love that song. It's my all-time favourite. And but it's not my funeral song. I have had this idea for years. For my funeral, I want to bookend the service with 2 songs with the same title. So as we come into crematorium, I mean I'll be dead, so I won't hear them. But when we come into crematorium, I want Atmosphere by Joy Division. Because come on, walk in silence. How cool is that to come into a crematorium? And then at the end, when everybody's crying, Russ Abbott, Atmosphere. So everybody can walk out dancing, and if they're not doing a conga, I'll jump out of that coffin and I'll kick them up arse. So that's my funeral songs. It's been lovely talking to you. I don't know how long I've been rambling. Have I gone over half an hour? Probably. So, has anyone else got a question? Is anything that you're burning to ask? You can ask me out. Well, there's one question you're not allowed to ask. I'm not telling you what it is. The answer is none of your fucking business. You'd have to find out. Go on. Michelle shocked. 5 a.m. in Amsterdam. So there you go. Anyone else before I go? No one? Well, listen, guys, thank you for listening. I'll leave you with these 3 things. 1, enjoy your music, because it'll take you everywhere and anywhere. It always will transport you to a time, a place, a person, a smell, an experience. Secondly, talk to each other, to your friends, to people around you. Ask people if they're all right, and ask them twice. Don't just accept as an answer. Ask them, are you really all right? Make sure, because you could save a life by just asking that question. Are you okay? And thirdly, remember, it's okay not to be okay. That's pretty much my time. I'm going to be playing at the Greystones on 15th of June with Tiny Barbaras. We've got some gigs coming up with Brothers. It's all on Facebook and shit. You'll be able to find it. I'd love you to come and see us. I do a radio show on Rockingham Radio, which is an online radio station based in Wath. It's www.rockinghamradio.co.uk. I'm on from 9 p.m. till midnight every Saturday night, and we call the show Down the Rabbit Hole. It's mad. It's fun. I just take you on a journey, so you never know what you're going to get next. It's like a box of chocolates. And finally, if you get Star on a Saturday, I do a column in there as well. So yeah, I don't know when I get time to eat and sleep, but I do. I manage it somehow. I want to thank Rebecca for asking me to do this tonight. I want to thank everybody here at the Liquor Lab for looking after us with beers. I want to thank you all for coming. And I want to thank our other speakers tonight, Oriel and Martin, because they did an amazing job against unbelievable odds. Thank you again. And I really hope that there's going to be more of these nights soon, and get yourselves along to them, because it's always good to listen to somebody talking bollocks. And I know I talk a lot of bollocks, but I hope tonight I've talked some sense. Thanks very much. You've been great.
Big Shaun, everyone, come on.